Hey there, all you Thai learners. First, I have to say something to my Thai viewership that isn't so comfortable in English. ผมจะต้องขอโทษนะครับทุกคนที่มาดูวิดีโอนี้เพื่อที่จะได้เรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับภาษาอังกฤษนะครับเพราะว่าวันนี้ผมจะสอนเกี่ยวกับภาษาไทยเลยจริงๆแล้วอาจจะอีกสัก2-3อาทิตย์จนกว่าผมจะได้สอนภาษาไทยภาษาอังกฤษใหม่นะครับเพราะว่าผมเข้าไปดูวิดีโอสักคลิปหนึ่งนะครับแล้วก็มีวิดีโออีกคลิปหนึ่งเชื่อมต่อกับอันนั้น แล้วผมก็ได้เข้าไปดูแล้วมันเป็นคนสอนวิธีออกเสียงแบบปอปลาหรือบอใบไม้หรือเอ่อกอไก่อะไรอย่างเงี้ยแล้วผมคิดว่าเขาอธิบายไม่ค่อยถูกต้องผมก็เลยจะถือโอกาสนี้เพื่อที่จะอธิบายวิธีพูดให้ถูกต้องอะไรอย่างนี้แม้ว่าผมอาจจะไม่ได้พูดให้ถูกต้องทุกครั้งแต่ผมก็รู้วิธีพูดให้ถูกต้องก็เลยจะสอนนะครับตอนนี้นะครับแต่จะสอนภาษาอังกฤษนะครับผมจะไม่มีซับนะครับขอโทษนะครับผมขี้เกียจ ก็คือถ้าคุณเป็นคนไทยแล้วไม่ได้อยากจะเรียนภาษาของตนแล้วก็ปิดได้เลยครับ Okay, sorry. Well, if you're here to learn Thai, then hopefully you understood some of that, and if not, then no worries. We will start from the beginning. Okay. So I was thinking about how I wanted to do this. I want to go through all the letters with you, and I think the first thing I was going to do was start with the vowels, but there are a lot of vowel sounds, and I want to get just a couple consonants down first, and then we can start. What we're going to do is we're going to learn maybe 2 or 3 consonants, and then I'm just going to start coming up with words. A lot of them won't even be real words; they're just going to be sounds, but it's not important in the beginning. Okay, if you learn really any Chinese language, any Asian language, any Chinese language. I'm sorry, that was a slip of the tongue. If you learn any Asian language, it's going to be really important, especially if it's tonal, that you learn how to just make even simple random nonsense sounds. Okay, so we're going to work on that because, to be honest, all these simple random nonsense words and these real what will also sound to you like nonsense words really aren't that much different, right? So yeah, we're going to talk about today right now. First of all, first letter of the Thai alphabet, ga gai, ga gai. Try and say it once or twice. Ga gai. All right. Now this letter in Thailand is very often spelled with a K. Okay. I totally disagree with that because most people who come to learn Thailand have already learned English, and so they're going to be heavily influenced if they're not already a native English speaker. Sorry, not my ethnocentrism is just bleeding all over the place here. Chinese languages, American. I'm sorry. It's totally not intentional. But in any case, yeah, I want to talk about first of all that why I think it should be spelled G and not K, because if you spell it with a K, the tendency of the learner is going to be to pronounce it as exactly that, a K. Okay. Now let's take the words gai with kai. Okay, gai means chicken. Gai, and that's the letter we're working with today. What sometimes is spelled as a K, but what I think should be spelled as a G. Gai, the first letter of the Thai alphabet, means chicken. The word I just said, gai, means chicken. But if you change that k to a k, then you have kai. Now, kai means egg. Okay, so if you say gai, you just said chicken, but if you said kai, you said egg. So of course there is the term kai, gai, chicken eggs, right? But if you can't differentiate between these two sounds, and you won't be able to if you believe the fact that they write it K, okay? I just don't agree with that because, for example, the city of Bangkok in Thai is called Krungthep Mahanakon. I'm not going to say the whole thing, but you probably know. It's a really long name. Usually it's shortened to Krungthep Mahanakon or just Krungthep. It's Krungthep. No, it's not Krungthep. No, it's Krung Krung. Okay, now how do we make this sound? How do we make this sound? It is like a G, but it's not a G, right? Because a G in English is a voiced sound. That means you can't go g without making an sound, right? You can go k k k. That's a K sound in English, and there's no voicing. K k k. You don't hear my vocal cords doing anything. It's not until I add a vowel. Can right there. I added this sound, this sound, right? But you can say it without a voice. But g, there's no try and say g without voicing. It doesn't come out because you need to voice it. However, this G sound in Thai is a voiceless G. Okay, so you get to this point, you're trying to say, and you can't. So what you have to do is you have to push that G sound out of the back of your throat. Okay, watch my mouth really close. I know this is silly, but I've seen people say this word correctly after watching me do this enough times. So is the sound, okay? I'm not so good at explaining every sound. Some sounds I know how to tell you where to put your tongue and whatnot, but really this one I think you just have to sort of do it as I said before. Think about saying a G sound, but don't let yourself say the G sound. And right when you get to that point of impact where you would say the G sound, instead of going push the sound back in your mouth a little bit. Okay? All right, let's practice. Here's a few words you can say. Ga, ga. We already talked about it before. Guy, guy. Having a hard time thinking of words right now. Gan, gan is a very important word. It can mean either, depending on how it's spelled, it can mean time, or it can mean the thing you use to turn things into nouns, right? So you can talk about done is to walk, gan done is walking, right? Dun tang to travel, gan dun tang is then the noun form of travel. Okay, so gan, very very important word. So yeah, that's all for right now. I hope this was helpful. I know it's a difficult sound to get right. However, I want to stress that you're better off saying it as a G for now. If you say guy, 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 right? Like we say it in English, like we would like guy, right? You say guy instead of guy. You notice how when I say it, there's a click, guy, guy. But if you say like an American would, you would have guy, 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 and there's no real. Thai doesn't actually have the sound, okay? But that's why I'm actually telling you to say it, because Thai doesn't have it. So it's close enough to guy that it won't get confused with kai. See, okay, if a foreigner sees the words kai, guy, spelled the way they are in Thailand, it's going to be Kaikhaai. Now, what's the difference between a K and a KH? I don't know. But what's the difference between a G and a K? Well, that you know from your own from your knowledge of English. So there you can say Kai, guy. Okay, yeah, it's not really guy. We've said this. I've stressed this. But even that being said, if you say guy, it's understandable. Heck, even in Thai films every now and then, or when you hear that narrator voice in Thai doing that really deep voice, is talking like this, and he's trying to get his point, trying to make himself sound really cool. เขาก็จะพูดประมาณนี้นะครับ and they have the word ได้แก่ which means, for example, ก็มี5ประการดังนี้ได้แก่ right? It should be ได้แก่ but sometimes you will hear this really macho, awesome, cool voice say ได้แก่ and as you notice there, this ได้แก่ it's actually not correctly spoken in Thai. It should actually be ได้แก่ but it here is pronounced ได้แก่ to be a bit more, I don't know, to sound. I mean, if I asked my friend, she said, "Du lo mang." Now, I guess it makes them look better, makes them sound like they're sexy. I don't know. So, all right, that's all for today. I realize that it's kind of weird, but you have to trust yourself, okay? And we're gonna talk about that later when we do the tones. That you should never. If I say to you, "Guy," don't you say to me, "Guy." Don't ask me a question, okay? Do not do that ever, 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 ever. If you want to speak Thai, you have to get rid of this. Is it? Okay, if you want to do that, you have to add a word, and we'll talk about that later. But for now, just leave it at this, that you have to imitate sounds completely, not just the the consonants and the vowels, but also the tone. And that's super super important. It's not just kind of important. It's not just like, oh well, they'll figure out the difference. I mean, they will, they won't. It's going to lead to confusion sometimes, depending on the level, the degree of which you speak incorrectly. It could be very confusing. Okay. For example, if I'm teaching you the word new, mai, my. And you say to me, my? My is a question word. It means literally yes or no. So if you say that to me, it's not new. It doesn't mean new by any sense. If you say to someone, "Susu mai," it means buy shirt new, buy a new shirt, right? But if you say "Susu mai," it means do you want to buy a shirt? Okay? So you have to be careful to when someone's teaching you that you focus on what they teach you 100%. And I don't just mean me. I assume if you're here on YouTube, you're going to go look for other people. You know, take that tone with you when you learn the word. Don't learn the word and then try and go back and remember the tone. No, learn the tone with the word. It's super, super, super important. Also learn vowel length. We'll talk about that too. Right, but that's all for now. I don't want to talk too long. It's already been longer than I would have liked. So thanks a lot for watching, and I hope this was helpful. I'm going to put it up without subtitles right away. Maybe after a while it'll get some up there. Sorry, but I don't have the resources. I don't have a chalkboard in my room or anything, and I'm really not so technologically savvy. So yeah, if I get enough people to watch this and I get enough people asking for the subtitles, I'll make them. How's that? All right. If I get 15 requests, I'll make subtitles. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. สวัสดีครับ